What if Ash never released Greninja? Everybody remembers that final XYZ scene where Ash hugs Greninja and says goodbye, and honestly, that was one of the saddest Pokemon moments ever. But today, we're changing that. Instead of Greninja staying behind in Kalos, Ash brings him to Alola. And this one decision changes everything, because now Ash isn't entering Sun and Moon with just a new team. He's bringing a champion-level ace that rivaled Mega Evolutions and nearly defeated Alain's Charizard. Most trainers in Alola wouldn't even understand what they were looking at when Greninja transformed. They'd probably think Ash brought some legendary Pokemon with him, and this changes Ash too. Instead of being reset hard in Alola, this version keeps more of his XYZ personality. He's still fun, still goofy sometimes, but he's also way smarter, calmer, and more serious when battles start. So in this timeline, after XYZ, Ash looks at Greninja and basically says, "You're my next Pikachu," and Greninja chooses to follow him into Alola. And from here, Sun and Moon becomes a completely different story. But anyway, right after Ash arrives in Alola with Greninja, things honestly change instantly. Because now Ash isn't just showing up with Pikachu and acting clueless at the beginning. He already has one of the strongest Pokemon he's ever owned with him. And people in Alola start noticing that almost immediately, nobody there has ever seen the Bond phenomenon before. They know about Z moves and powerful Pokemon, but Ash Greninja is completely different. Even Professor Kukui is confused the first time he sees it, because Greninja literally starts looking like Ash himself. And honestly, Kukui probably realizes right away that Ash is way stronger than most trainers his age. And because Ash still has all of his XYZ experience here, he doesn't struggle nearly as much in the early parts of Sun and Moon. He still jokes around and acts like himself outside of battles, but once fights start, he keeps a lot more of his serious Kalos battle style. He's calmer, smarter, and honestly just more experienced now. During the island trials, Ash mostly tries using his newer Alola Pokemon at first, but anytime things start getting serious, Greninja completely changes the battle. Most trainers in Alola honestly can't even react to Greninja's speed properly. Even without transforming, Greninja already feels stronger than almost everybody Ash fights early on. So Ash starts getting way more respect earlier in the series. Instead of people seeing him as the new kid who just arrived in Alola, they start seeing him as an actual elite trainer pretty fast. Eventually, Ash finally decides to show everybody the Ash Greninja transformation during one of the trials, and honestly, the reaction is insane. The second Greninja transforms, the entire battlefield changes. The giant water shuriken appears behind him, the aura explodes around him, and Greninja starts moving so fast that most people can barely even follow him. A lot of people watching genuinely think this is some kind of legendary Pokemon transformation. Even Team Rocket is completely confused watching it happen. And honestly, this changes Greninja too, because now he has way more time to master the Bond phenomenon with Ash. Back in XYZ, Ash still struggled controlling the form sometimes and would even collapse from the pressure after battles. But after months of training together in Alola, the transformation becomes way smoother and stronger than before. Ash and Greninja start syncing naturally now, the form activates faster, Ash can actually stay focused during battles, and Greninja honestly starts feeling even closer to Mega Evolution level than he already was before. And because Greninja stays with Ash longer, Ash probably starts experimenting with Z moves alongside the Bond phenomenon too, and honestly, that sounds completely broken. Imagine Ash Greninja using a massive water-type Z move while fully transformed. That would probably become one of the strongest attacks Ash has ever used in the anime, and Greninja staying with Ash also helps the rest of the Alola team improve way faster. Pokemon like Rowlet, Rockruff, and Torracat are constantly training beside a Pokemon that already rivaled Mega Evolution. So instead of Ash's team growing slowly like in the original series, they honestly become stronger much faster here. Torracat probably benefits the most because Greninja's fighting style is all about speed, timing, and precise attack. So battling against Greninja every day honestly pushes Torracat way harder than before. Now we finally get into the Alola League, and honestly this tournament changes a lot now that Ash still has Greninja on his team, because in the original anime, Ash was already one of the stronger trainers there, but now people honestly start seeing him as the favorite to win the whole thing. Most trainers in Alola are used to normal battles and Z moves, but Ash is coming into the league with experience from Kalos, harder battles, and a Pokemon that already fought against some of the strongest trainers he's ever faced. At first, Ash still lets his Alola team handle a lot of the earlier rounds because he wants them to grow stronger too. So Rowlet, Lycanroc, and Torracat still get plenty of moments during the tournament, but everybody watching is waiting for Greninja to finally battle, and then we finally get to the Guzma fight. Because Guzma has absolutely never dealt with a Pokemon like Greninja before. Guzma's whole fighting style is about pressuring opponents and forcing them to panic, but that really doesn't work well against Ash anymore. Ash already dealt with way more dangerous battles back in Kalos, so he stays calm the entire fight, and once Greninja enters, Guzma starts struggling hard. Golisopod is powerful, but Greninja's speed and movement make it really difficult for Guzma to control the battle the way he normally does. Ash starts reading Guzma's attacks faster, countering them better, and slowly taking taking over the fight, this honestly becomes one of the moments where the entire crowd realizes Ash might actually be the strongest trainer in Alola. But then we finally get to Gladion, and honestly, this rivalry becomes way more intense in this timeline because Gladion already knows Ash is different from everybody else in the league. He sees Ash as the biggest threat from the start, not just another rival he slowly learns to respect over time. Now the battle itself is still really close because Gladion is strong too, Lycanroc still gets his huge moments during the fight, and that rivalry still matters a lot here. But the difference is Ash has way more pressure on Gladion now because he has Greninja in reserve too. Silvally honestly struggles dealing with Greninja's battle style because Greninja constantly changes pace during fights and attacks from weird angles. Every time Ash gains momentum, Gladion has to immediately adjust or he starts getting overwhelmed. I still think Lycanroc gets the final big win in the end because that was one of the biggest emotional moments in Sun and Moon, but Greninja definitely helps Ash get through the hardest parts of the battle beforehand, and then we finally get to the fight against Professor Kukui, and honestly this battle becomes even bigger now because Kukui was already insanely strong in the anime, and now he has to battle an Ash that's even more experienced than before. Pikachu, Torracat, and Lycanroc still get huge moments during the battle because Ash's Alola team still matters a lot emotionally. But once Greninja joins the fight, the entire battle starts speeding up fast. Even Kukui is probably surprised seeing how much stronger Ash and Greninja became after training together for so long. Their teamwork is smoother now, Ash reacts faster to attacks, and Greninja honestly feels stronger than he ever did during XYZ. And then Ash finally combines a water-type Z move with Greninja during the battle. Honestly, the entire stadium probably loses their minds watching it happen. That attack would easily become one of the strongest moves Ash has ever used in the anime, and it probably becomes one of the most famous moments in Alola League history too. And eventually Ash still wins the Alola League, but this time people don't really question how strong he is afterward, because now Ash feels like somebody who truly earned the title, not just because he won the tournament, but because he came into Alola already experienced, already powerful, and proved it the entire way through. And honestly, after the league, Greninja probably becomes famous across multiple regions. Trainers everywhere would start hearing about Ash's strange Greninja that fights almost like a mega evolution. But honestly, the craziest part of this timeline hasn't even happened yet, because now we're entering Journeys, and that changes everything. Now after Ash wins the Alola League with Greninja still on his team, his reputation honestly becomes way bigger worldwide, because in the original timeline, most people just saw Ash as the trainer who finally won Alola, but now trainers everywhere start hearing about Ash and his strange Greninja that fights almost like a mega evolution. And this changes Journeys immediately, because when Ash enters the World Coronation series, he's not treated like some random trainer climbing the ranks anymore. A lot of people already know who he is before battling him. Even stronger trainers like Bea, Raihan, and Cynthia probably already heard stories about Greninja before Ash even fights them. Ash still catches Lucario too, but honestly, Lucario grows way faster in this timeline, because now he's training beside Greninja almost every day. Greninja already understands battle synchronization and aura-based fighting, so he basically becomes Lucario's mentor. The training between them would honestly be insane. Speed training, reaction training, aura control, all of it, and because of that, Lucario probably learns to control Mega Evolution earlier than in the original anime. And this also changes a lot of Ash's battles during the World Coronation series. Against Bea, Greninja honestly becomes a huge problem for her team because her entire fighting style is aggressive close combat, and Greninja is way too fast for most of her Pokemon to keep up with. Then against Raihan, Ash now has another Pokemon that already fought against Mega Evolution level opponents years ago, so Ash honestly feels way more dangerous throughout Journeys now, and honestly this creates a really interesting situation for Ash later in the series because now he has 3 main ace Pokemon: Pikachu, Lucario, and Greninja, and honestly trying to figure out which one is strongest would probably start huge debates in the Pokemon community. But then we finally get to the Masters 8 tournament, and honestly this changes everything, because now Ash enters the tournament with a fully mastered Greninja that's even stronger than he was back in XYZ or Alola. I still think Lucario gets a huge role against Cynthia, because that battle was really important for Lucario's growth, but Greninja definitely gets used somewhere in the tournament too, because Ash would absolutely bring out one of his strongest Pokemon possible during these fights. And honestly, imagine Cynthia seeing Ash Greninja for the first time. She's already seen Mega Evolution, Dynamax, and Z moves before, but even she'd probably realize immediately that the bond phenomenon is something completely different. Then we finally get to Leon, and honestly this would probably become one of the most hyped Pokemon battles ever, because now we finally get Ash Greninja versus Leon's Charizard. And unlike Alain's Charizard back in XYZ, Leon's Charizard is on a completely different level. This Pokemon spent years dominating champions and was considered one of the strongest Pokemon in the entire world. But Greninja is way stronger now too. He has years of extra training, more battle experience, complete control over his transformation and experience fighting through the World Coronation series, and honestly, I think Greninja would push Leon's Charizard harder than almost anybody expected. Now, I still think Pikachu gets the final win because Pokemon would never take that final moment away from Pikachu. Beating Leon was Pikachu's biggest moment in the entire anime, but Greninja probably weakens Charizard massively beforehand and becomes one of the biggest reasons Ash even wins the World Championship in the first place. And after the tournament, there's honestly no debate anymore. Greninja becomes one of the most legendary Pokemon Ash ever owned. Because in this timeline, Greninja never stopped growing after XYZ. He kept training through Alola, through journeys, through champion battles, and eventually helped Ash become the strongest trainer in the entire world. And honestly, if Pokemon actually kept Greninja with Ash instead of releasing him after XYZ, Ash Greninja probably would have gone down as Ash's greatest Pokemon ever. So let me know if you guys want another Pokemon What If after this one, because honestly, what if Ash won the Kalos League? It could actually go crazy. Hope you guys really liked this video. If you guys enjoy these kinds of videos, make sure to like and subscribe, and go check out my video, Is Ash Greninja Ash's Strongest Pokemon? Because that one's really good too, and let me know if you guys want me to keep making more videos like this, since this is a brand new channel.